Hey guys, J-Man here, back in the Phantom Zone, and we're talking about toy collecting today. Because I collect toys. I'm not sure if anyone out there has noticed that. We started a little bit late today because I had garbage internet issues, so I'm going to complain. I'm going to beat up my internet company. No, I'm not going to do any of that because I'm too nice. I won't even call and complain. That's how bad that is. But can't talk about toy collecting alone because then you're just a loser talking about toy collecting. So it's better if you have a bunch of people talking about it because then you don't look as nerdy doing that. So I have a special guest today, and his link is in the description of the video. It's also up on the screen. It's also in the chat. So check out his YouTube channel. It's called GoFigure, and his name is Adam. So let's bring him in. Adam, how's it going, man?
It's going great, J-Man. Thanks for having me on here. I'm excited about this.
Oh, thanks for coming on. I'm super excited about this because I love collecting toys, and we got to bring in one more person, and everybody knows who that is. And we may see the word hater come up. He's laughing already. I can see him laughing in the back. We might get the word hater thrown out, but we're not doing any hating today. Well, we're doing a little bit of hating today, but we're not doing any major hating today. Let's bring Sean in. How's it going, Sean?
I love everyone, man.
I know. So we got Zack Snyder fanboy. What's going on, dude? That's Pikachu. If you guys don't know who that,
okay, cool.
He was messaging me earlier. He wants to do an amazing fans segment, so we're kind of working some. But literally, he's like texting me while we're trying to get this set up, so I just couldn't talk. But thanks for dropping in, dude.
Sounds good.
Okay, so I had to, because there's technical issues, I had to plug in my internet cable, so my setup looks different than normal. I wanted to have my cool toys in the background, but just watch any of my videos, you can see the Swamp Thing stuff in the background. Okay, so let's start with Adam. Just give us a quick, kind of an introduction, and let us know about what your channel's all about. And I've watched every video you've put up.
Nice.
Man, you had some great tips. That Cricut machine thing is like super good. Holy crap.
So the Cricut is a funny story. So I'm Adam from GoFigure, and our channel is all about just like taking your vintage toys and like fix them, getting them displayed ready again. Because vintage toys are expensive. And if you can get kind of the bargain bin ones and get them ready for your shelf again, that's kind of what we're all about. So that's what we do, and we have a lot of fun doing it. And if it's ever not fun, then I think you're collecting toys wrong. But no, one of the things we use on our show is this Cricut machine. And 3 years ago for Christmas, my wife was like, "I'd like a Cricut machine." And I was like, "I don't know what that is, but okay." So I looked up like where to get it. And so I went to Michael's and I talked to the lady there. I was like, "I need to buy a Cricut machine." And she's like, "Okay, they're over here." And I said, like, "What does this do?" And she goes, "Oh, all kinds of crafters use it." I was like, "Oh, like, what do they use it for?" And she goes, "Oh, they all use it." And I was like, "You don't know what it does, do you?" And she goes, "Oh, the crafters all." So I had no idea what I was buying. And then Christmas morning, my wife opened it and she was very excited about it. It was great. And I was like, "I'm dying to know, like, what does this do?" And my wife says, "I don't really know. Just all the crafters use it." So then we didn't know what we had. We had this machine. We didn't know what it was. And it turns out it's like a cutting and drawing, kind of like a little CNC machine. So I saw that and I was like, "Oh, I can do all kinds of stuff with that." So I've kind of stolen it from my wife a little bit.
So that's great. Well, so I've seen the way it works and all that. And if people out there didn't think I was enough of a loser, I'm gonna loserify myself even a bit more. My day job is working at a box factory, and I don't work in the factory. I work in the office, and we have that machine but large. So we cut out big, huge corrugated samples and supplies out of that. So I literally saw that. I was like, "Oh my God, it's like a sample cutting table, but like small."
Right.
And man, I mean, you're doing like the visionary templates things. The coolest thing was the wings on the sectors.
I'll give you guys a sneak peek. This is just a prototype. They're not the right color yet. I just made some buzz off wings.
Oh, dude! Oh my God, yeah.
So they're coming up pretty great. And so I got
awesome.
I got some other yellow stuff. I'm gonna try and convert those to. But I actually think the clear looks pretty groovy. Kind of looks like a real insect. But I think pretty top shelf.
That is awesome. Oh, I love Buzz Off. I just today, because I was going through my figures, and vintage He-Man is like my main collection.
Right.
As a child, I had 60 of the figures, and there wasn't that many made. It was like literally the ones like Scareglow and all that. Oh, and you know what I have? You'll appreciate. I think you'll appreciate this. I have a blue bearded Stratos.
Oof.
Out of the packaging.
Yeah.
I didn't know what it was. I bought it off eBay for $20. It came in, and I thought, I was like, oh no, his beard is blue. I'm like, what the hell? This looks weird. Because I love Stratos, and I had my childhood one, which was completely beat up, and I traded it. I traded Stratos and the Mego Hulk, the small Hulk.
Yeah.
I traded those two for. I'm sorry. Sorry. I traded those two for a Superpowers Green Lantern.
Right. Which as a kid, you do that, no questions asked.
Oh, you do that, yeah. So because Superpowers is like the best. And then the guy who his name is what was his name? Was it Danny? He moved, and I was like, damn, So I lost my Stratos, and then literally my buddy gave me his Stratos, right? And that's the one I still have from childhood that my friend at childhood gave me. But it's roughed up to hell. So I wanted a better Stratos. So I bought one. It came out and it was blue bearded. I thought, oh no, did someone paint this? I'm kind of checking it out. I'm like, this doesn't look like someone just painted over it. It looks like this was
right,
like originally supposed to be blue. And then I looked it up. I'm like, holy shit, this is some super rare Stratos. So I was like, whatever, it's sealed up now. And
yeah.
But
it's crazy when you buy stuff and then you realize you got a better deal than you thought you were going to. So like recently I bought the night fighting Prince Dargon. He was the last guy I needed for my Sectars collection. And it turns out he's like got a bigger star on his chest. So it's like this rare variant that came out as like the original run. And then the secondary run had like a smaller star on it. And I was like, oh, this is great. I have a rare one, but I also need to get the other one now because you can't have a variant without having the other one. So
yeah.
Right. Yeah. Well, Sectars is like the coolest toy line ever. And fixing because I had the I don't know okay, so everybody knows this is the joke. I'm garbage with names.
Right.
I don't know the names of anything. So it was the blue guy with the mustache, and he had it was like a crab looking
pincher beetle.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and then you would squeeze the trigger and it would clamp or whatever.
Yeah.
I had that was just that idea of putting your hand in and making it like a vehicle or a mount or whatever.
Right.
I mean, like, why has that not been replicated?
So, my wife, who is not a collector at all, did not do toys when she grew up very much, doesn't understand like the nostalgia that I live in, supports me, loves me, support 100%, but I don't get it. Like, I don't understand. I picked up the Spider Flyer and the Dragon Flyer on the same day. It was a bulk deal, and it was a real good one. So we went for a drive, and she's like, "What are you buying? Like, what toys are these?" And so I was like, "Oh, like there's these Sectars, and they're kind of like hand puppets." And she's like, "What are you talking about?" And then when we got them, and I got into the car, I was like, "This is how they are kind of working." She was blown away, and she goes, "Why haven't like this?" Why hasn't this been a toy since 1985? Like, this is incredible way to play it. It looks incredible. It comes alive in your hands. And she goes, like, our kids would have loved this. They're bugs, they're toys, they're fly. It's stupid that this isn't a thing anymore. And I was like, yeah, I know, but it hasn't been around since 85.
Yeah, did any of you guys get the small ones? They've done these smaller versions just recently.
I saw the small ones. I think they're Zvex toys, I think is who does them.
Yeah.
Sure.
And so I was looking at them and I was like, oh, so at that point in time, I didn't have any vintage Sectars in my collection. I saw them and I was like, oh, those are really cool. And then I was like, but there's no mounts. It's just figures. And they're more expensive than buying vintage ones.
And that's the eternal problem.
Okay, so this was not planned, guys. This was inadvertently brought. We've just through. I knew this was going to happen. Just through casual conversation, we've come to one of the topics that I wanted to talk about. Right. So Adam had Michael French from Retro Blasting, who I've literally watched every single Retro Blasting video that is on their YouTube channel. I don't always catch live streams because I work on Saturdays sometimes.
Yeah.
So I don't catch their Saturday live streams, though I have caught it in the past. And so I came through following Michael, and I thought your guys' conversation was great, obviously. But you talked about the 3 rules, and we're going to write them down here. Because we're gonna just and now did you make that up or was that a thing?
No, that's so when we started the channel, I was like, I need to kind of give myself some parameters so it doesn't just become like a rabbit's hole of like what's going on. And I was at a previous job where I had a much bigger office and I had all my collection. And again, I think guys our age, we never made a choice to collect vintage or to collect modern. We just, as a kid, we had toys. And then as we grew up, we just kept buying toys. And now the ones we had as a kid are vintage and the ones that we bought when we were adult aren't. They're more modern. But we never made a conscious decision of like, okay, now I'm going to collect modern, I'm going to collect vintage. We just had this collection. But why we collect as adults is because we have such fond memories of our childhood. We have such fond memories of those characters, of those licenses, of those toys. And so the three lies that I kind of extrapolated as I was looking for rules for my show and like why we're going to do vintage and not modern. And when I went from a bigger office to a smaller office, I was like, okay, so I'm going to look at my collection and like what stays, what goes into storage, what goes, what we're going to sell. And I thought, and it was an epiphany came to me after I had a Batman v Superman multiverse figure I was buying. And I was like, this is a Superman figure, so I'm buying it because I loved Kenner's superpower Superman. But like, I hate this design and I hated this movie. This movie made me angry. So like, why am I buying this figure? Like, why is this transaction happening? Only except because I'm a collector and I like Superman, and I have this idea of like I want to collect them all. I got to have all the Superman stuff, because the lie is that modern toy collecting will be as nostalgic or rewarding as vintage toy collecting, but we don't have any of those memories attached to those toys. So it's not, we're what I call chasing the dragon's tail, where you're looking for like a feeling that's not going to be there. So then I came up with the three rules that affect me. If you're watching this and you're a modern toy collector, then like all the power to you, and I respect you. There's no wrong way to collect, only wrong way to behave, and that's how we treat each other. Right. But for me, my rules are that, or the lies I should say about modern toy collecting, is that A, it's going to be as nostalgic as vintage toy collecting. It's going to, the new figures are going to give you at the same warm and fuzzies that the vintage figures will, which to my experience they do not. The second is that it's going to be cheaper because they're new. There's this idea that like, well, vintage, toys are so expensive. You sell a Luke Skywalker for $1,000, like all this nonsense. New toys are so expensive right now. Even like children's retail toys are so expensive right now. And vintage toys, there's a value to them, but it's not it's not this big expense compared to modern toy collection. Actually, in some ways, like we talked about the sectars, it's cheaper to buy the vintage ones than it is to buy the new ones, because they're such a small run and they're exclusive and they're all those things. And then the third one is that the toys will be better toys because they're newer, right? They're going to be more durable. They're going to be, strong. And that's not necessarily the case. Like there's some cool sculpts coming out. Like, well, I'm not going to lie to you and say that the sculpts were, worse, but you take a figure out of the package, anything from NECA or, a company like that, and it's prone to break right away, or if it falls over on your shelf, it's a resin and it cracks. And so I find that toys made to be played with when we were in the glory days of action figure collecting, those ones seem to last and just be better toys. And so they're more durable. So I as my show, I fix old toys that have hung on, right? We have all these what I call the skeletons of toys. So like, Buzz Off here, he doesn't have a helmet or he didn't have wings, but he was just like this rock solid figure that's not going anywhere. So you cricket him some new wings and he looks great on the shelf. And we're going to do yellow ones and he look even better. But all that to say is that, the three lies is that they're going to be better. There's going to be as nostalgic and it's going to be cheaper. I have found those to be the exact, those lies are very true in all aspects of modern figure collecting, in my experience.
Yeah. So we're going to go through those rules, but actually while you were talking, and Sean's got a story about the figures being expensive and all that. I remember your story, Sean, with the boy and the mom or whatever, when you were doing the Christmas, which I want you to recap. But hold on.
Okay.
So let's address let's ask the panel. Hey Skeptic, how's it going, dude? Thanks for popping by. Yeah, no worries, man. It's great to have you on here. Collector's edition is not worth anything these days. 50 million. Well, yeah. Okay, we're going to talk about this idea of what we call it like short packing or whatever, or like this like sort of exclusiveness thing, which is really irritating to me. So we're going to be negative on that. At least I'm going to be negative on it. You watch Batman Robin? Great. I've seen it 100 times. All right. Star Wars Toy Stock after 2012.
That's gotta be some kind of disorder.
I've watched I love Batman Robin. It's great. Anyways.
Wine, I guess.
Look, it's colorful and there's
it
a lot
looks
of
great
fighting.
on mute. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks great on mute. Star Wars Toy Stock after 2012. Yeah, we're going to talk about the Star Wars toys because that's an important line. Vintage collection.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're gonna go through all those. Okay, but actually, Adam touched upon something else. I was making notes while you were talking. When do you think? And I'll address this to both you guys, and I'll give my thoughts too. When do you think it stopped being like a toy, and it became a collector's item? You can pinpoint a line if you want, like a toy line, or
I'd say
or a figure.
either,
like Sean, what do you think?
I'd say either Todd McFarlane Spawn or Playmate Star Trek. Like Playmate Star Trek, like dived right into that, and it blew up in their faces because you could buy like any of those characters a dime a dozen now, right? But they were all numbered and stuff, and they made everybody as though they were Kenner Star Wars, and they really emphasized the collectability of those figures. And J-Man, you were with me when I bought a box of them for like $5.
Yes,
and I could not get rid of them on the table, man. When I sold at toy shows, like no one cared. No, and that was that. I feel like that line, like most of the Star Trek Next Generation stuff, especially, was based on the idea that they were numbered. It was rare. Come get these now. And it backfired. But I remember that being a mainstay of that line more so than other lines back then, and then it just kind of grew from there. I don't know. What do you have to say about that?
Well, okay, so let's go to Adam. What are your thoughts? Can you pinpoint?
So,
I think Sean said it with Spawn for me, but go ahead. What are your thoughts?
So first off, I need to say I love the Star Trek Playmates line.
Yes.
And
I'm not denigrating it. Yeah.
But not only do I love it, my daughter is 10, and it's her favorite toy line. So for her birthday last year, we went out and just bought everything we could find. So if you still have more of those, we'll talk after.
Yeah.
We'll make a little deal ski. But I think it came about when Power of the Force 2, what I call, became self-aware. And so
okay.
You can see a shift in that line where it came out, and I know they're buff, and everybody likes to harp on the monkey face Leia and whatnot, but they came out to be a kids play toy line to get kids excited about Star Wars again. And within the second or third year of that, it really became a collector's line, and what do the fans want, and we want to get more accurate. And you could tell that line kind of morphed into, and it hasn't really stopped, it just kind of kept bubbling until it became what we have now in the Star Wars line.
Yeah. I think when I first noticed it, because I actually I became a Trekkie after those toys. I wasn't a Trekkie from day one. I was like more like Star Wars, I like the like He-Man, Transformers, G.I. Joe cartoons and all that.
Yeah.
So I didn't get into Star Trek till way later. And now I'm like a super Trekkie nerd, and I've watched every series like 4 or 5 times over easy. And I'm on my third cycle of Voyager right now, and I've seen Deep Space Nine 5 times. We literally just cycled them all. Like we did all the original series, then we do all of them, and then we just recycle them, and we skip all the JJ garbage because we all know that that's garbage. Anyway, but I think Spawn, because I'm a big '90s comics guy. You can beat me up later. I don't care, Rob. I love Rob Liefeld. I talk to him all the time on Twitter and Facebook. He hasn't blocked me, and he responds to me all the time, so that's great. He has not blocked me. He's not going to because I love him. But anyways, so Spawn, yeah. When those toys came out, I stopped thinking of these as like toys and started thinking, ooh, I got to keep this in the package, or I got to maybe I should buy a second one. That whole idea of like, oh, I should buy a second one of these.
The one to show, one to go conundrum Like I think back
Yeah.
to young Adam going through that in his head. I'm like, what was I thinking? Like,
I know, it's so dumb.
Yeah,
but I got caught in it big time. And it was the Spawn toys. Now it's because I'm like, well, I gotta open them. But then I was like, oh man, maybe I should keep a few in the package. And then and then now I don't. I just open up stuff and
that's for that '90s comic speculation market. And
it
it's
is
into the toys, right? Because everyone
You're
bought
right.
like two, like one to read and one, and especially if they were bagged. You
I got two X-Force.
Yeah.
What do you want me to tell you?
Yes, I know. I bought every X-Force for every card.
Oh,
and now I feel so stupid, but yeah.
No. I don't have every card. You want to give me the ones that I'll tell you which ones I need. You can bring it. You can
Sure. I'll even say though that like to add more to the one in the package or versus opening up. The first McFarlane figure I bought was from the Movie Maniacs line. I bought a Snake Plissken.
Yeah.
Wow.
And again,
I've got that.
You walk in the store and you see for the first time ever a Snake Plissken action figure, and you're like, "This is amazing!" Even though it was Escape from L.A., not Escape from New York, but it was still Snake, and you're like, it's still interchangeable. And I remember taking it back to my college dorm room at the time, like really pumped up about it, cracked it open, and then I'm like, "Oh, it's just a statue." Oh, and then his arm broke off, and I had to put his coat on to keep his arm in place. And I was like, "What? This is what I'm saying. This is such a disappointing purchase because this is not a toy. This is not a Snake Plissken action figure. This is a statue, kind of." So, and that's like, the package is not to keep it value; it's just to keep it together.
Yeah, and we're definitely gonna hit it when we get to the better quality lie. I've got lots to say on that one. Let's take a break and check out what's going on in the chat here. Gray Malkin, hey dude, how's it going, dude? We're talking tomorrow, right? Sunday. Lots of shit went down with X-Men this week, man, in comics. So we're talking about that big time. I've caught up on Superman. Sean, did you read Superman and all that? You all caught up?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
All right. So we're gonna do that tomorrow, big time on the Danger Room segment. What's this? Yeah. I mean, it stopped being about providing quality entertainment for kids to play with and last and toy testing and all this kind of stuff. Where it's not even that it's like fragile. Like this is a new toy. This is the newer Merman. From Origins line. And actually, I just got this today, which we can get into later. I didn't even know that they did this. They did a different version of them. I just got this today. Otherwise, I will open it. But I
was going to say like Kenner and Hasbro mailaways in the 80s. I never saw them. I always saw them as just part of a business. I mean, even as a kid, you know what's going on. It's like you buy up more proofs of purchase and you send it off and you get the figure. I didn't see them as collectibles. I just saw them as like a premium thing. Like, I don't know if Mattel did that with He-Man. I don't remember.
What about Wonder Bread?
The buy three.
Oh yeah, Wonder Bread. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Pardon?
They said Mattel did the buy three get one free.
Oh yes, yeah.
Thing. So it's all about mailing lists, right? They want to get you on a mailing list so they can send you a catalog. That's what that was.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think. It sort of starts to get a little bit out of hand, and that's when you have all this stuff where you're like, oh my god, like what am I going to do with all this? And then you start taking this back, and I guess we can go right into the lies, because this is where Sean and I start to discover the lies. Now I don't know, you're a pretty heavy duty collector, so do you sell at any shows or anything like that? Or
years ago, my buddy Kurt and John and I did some selling at a show. But again, that became kind of businessy for me. And I was like, I want my hobby to be just as fun as it can be. I don't want to have any stress of like, I didn't sell this stuff. And also I found when we were doing that, I was buying stuff that I didn't want. I was just like, oh, this might sell. And I was like, I only want to buy stuff that I want to collect, right? Like that's where I'm at. So like, I don't sell, I'll sell off doubles and stuff if I get stuff cheap. And, but more or less, I like to spread the joy. So I have a buddy, and he's got two little girls that are fantastic. And he's been kind of getting them into the old Ninja Turtle show. So sporadically, I'll just drop off vintage turtles on their doorstep and just like call them, like tell them to check the door. And then I'll just like run away. And so turtles just show up at their house. And that's more fun to me than like the $2-3 I could get for like a loose Donatello, right? With a hard head.
There's literally 4 trillion Ninja Turtle toys. They counted it. They've actually counted it. It's 4 trillion and one.
So if we can encourage kids to play with toys as opposed to a phone for even a minute, I'm all about that.
Yes, I don't have any kids, so I cannot pass on any of my knowledge. But I have two nieces on my wife's side and two nieces on or niece and nephew on each side.
Drop off the toys. You don't got to worry about the bedtime.
Oh, they're like they're gonna love it. They're gonna love it. And my room's like a little museum to them. So the nostalgia. So well, Sean and I sell now. Sean, you would make pretty good money, but again, as to you most of your sales came from the Transformers vintage line, correct?
I that was my first big collection. I had the first like 3 waves of Transformers G1. I'm a big fan of. First of all, I feel like I'm more of a fan of just all of the franchises themselves. Like I like the story media of them. Like I collect the cartoons, the comics wherever they were applicable. Like I love the Air Raiders comic. It's like they should have just made a cartoon on that. But and all the book and record sets. Like I love that kind of thing. Yeah. And I was into G1 Transformers, and I didn't have the I mean, I admire you guys with your man caves and stuff. I didn't have the space for that, and I felt at some point I knew it was never going to stop, and so I said, you know what, let me narrow down my collection to like stuff I really want to keep, and so I sold all of my Transformers. And J-Man was there for one of the shows where I was making mad money, and that was around the time of the second Michael Bay movie.
What's that?
And if you want to ask, I don't like those movies, but yeah, it was white hot at the time, and I was underselling everyone and still making a lot. Right now, my obsession is just not really obsession, but casual obsession is just Keter Hoth toys.
I love the term casual obsession. It's real ends of the spectrum there. I
don't feel the pressure to get every single thing from a line right now. Just stuff that that is in front of my face. I like it, I want it, and I buy it. And that took a long time to develop. I used to be completely like get everything, and then at a certain point I was like, there's no place to put it. I don't have the money to sustain this, so let me unload a bit and stuff. And now I have like some great Keter pieces, some great Superpowers pieces, and I casually go from there. I admire them. I don't really put them out as much. I have mostly my DVDs and Blu-rays on display, but yeah, it's. I mean, like I've sold most of my stuff on these shows here and there, in Mississauga and Toronto and stuff. So yeah.
And to keep this in the first lie of the nostalgia factor, on the other hand, so Sean and I would always get tables together, and we go to every comic show, every toy show, all that stuff together. And Sean had a lot of the vintage stuff, like the G1 Transformers and all that. And the thing is, like, I'm not selling my vintage He-Man because, like, that's just like not happening. Yeah. So that's where my expertise lied with all of those figures, but I'm not selling those. So I was selling all of these ones where I bought 2, had one in the package and all that. And I'm a super duper horror movie mega nerd. Like I've got at least 500 horror movies. And out of the 600 movies that were made in the 80s of horror, I own like 300 something of them. So I own more than half of every horror movie that came out in 1980 to 89. But Movie Maniacs, I loved all that, right? But it's like, again, it's like people don't really care that much. Anyone who kind of wanted the Freddy figure or whatever, they bought it. And then so there's no resale value to that. There's no nostalgia for it because you're like, okay, it's just like something. And I would not do as well. And I would have to start, like all those Todd McFarlane figures, I would sell them off for like $5 or whatever, just to like get them out of here. And meanwhile, you know, I've got I have every Empire figure, at least one of each character complete, not the package or anything. And I'm not going to sell those. But it's like, so I'm never going to make any of this money from these collector lines that came out because nobody wants them. And someone said, I think it was Skeptic, it's like you make it a collector's item. It's like, well, you're just telling people to collect it and it's not going to go anywhere. And that leads to the comic books because I'm a comic book guy. And Sean, you mentioned the comic book stuff, right? Where everyone owns X-Force #1 and Youngblood and whatever. So the nostalgia is not there because it's like all of our age group doesn't give a shit about this stuff. It's like you bought it because it looked cool. Oh, that looks cool. I'll buy it. And you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, and it's also the idea that like you say, the limited edition, special run, like that stuff actually is worth what the original release, the actual thing it's making reference to will ever be worth, right? You know, one of the classic firearms is like a Winchester 30-30. It's like a cowboy gun.
Okay.
And so my dad's a hunter, so we would go to gun shows together. And whenever you go there, you'd see these, like, they're called the John Wayne 30-30s, and they're like chrome, and they got John Wayne on them, and they're like all decked out.
Right.
And I was like, what's this about? And they were like a thing that Ducks Unlimited Canada put out. And they would be selling them for half the price of just a regular 30-30 because nobody wants this tacky nonsense. Because what we want is the real thing, not a nostalgic thing. So like I laughed the other day when Star Wars collectors scoff at Power of the Force 1. They like it's like the lowest of the low for them.
Right.
And for me, it's very nostalgic because it's like the first Star Wars figures I bought in the store. I'm born in '81, so by the time I was buying figures, Star Wars was over. But Power of the Force 2 came out, and I was like, oh, look at this. This is great. But now, because it's the 40th anniversary of whatever they're celebrating,
right,
they're now releasing Black Series figures on Power of the Force 2 cards to like sell that nostalgia. And I was like, those figures are $29. You can buy an actual Power of the Force 2 figure for like $5.
Nothing, yeah.
Right? Giving them away. So like, what are we actually doing in that? We're trying to create nostalgia that's not even. So we're trying to create nostalgia that's not even there.
My favorite is like newer figures of Phantom Menace characters, because you can buy Phantom Menace figures now for $2, $5. It's like a place right up where I usually frequent, and they have this cart of like these Phantom Menace figures, and I was like, one day I'm just gonna come here and buy them all. Because I had them and I sold them. And it's like, I don't know. It's been 20 years. I've mellowed. I'm okay with them now.
But I'm not going to pay $40 for a Black Series Jar Jar Binks vintage card back. Like what? Like that? You've missed the mark there completely in my mind.
Yeah. If you're 20 years old now, you grew up with Phantom Menace and all that. You would be nostalgic for them. You would probably be nostalgic for the old figures. You can buy those old figures for $5. You don't need to buy Black Series like $30 Jar Jar Binks, as you say, right?
Which are more expensive and they're harder to find.
Yeah, yeah.
Like we all live in Canada, so we know that our distribution is crazy.
Yeah.
Right, and it's literally like looking for the dredge of like whatever's left over after a tidal wave. You're like, okay, well here's one here and one. There's never a plethora of things on the pegs, so I'm not going to go hunt for a nostalgic attempt when I can get the real thing easier.
Yeah, I found I was buying like $100 vintage Kenner vehicles and play sets, $100, $200, and complete in box, pretty decent condition, and versus like when they were making play sets and vehicles, $100 new items and stuff. It's like it was, and you know what? I get more satisfaction out of buying the old Kenner stuff, like like Jabba the Hutt and everything. I'd rather just get the old stuff for the same price, and it's the same exact thing from my childhood, right? It's weird that their pricing model is weird to me. It always has been. Do you want me to tell a story now, J-Man, or no?
Yeah, I was going to say we've already segued into the more expensive thing, and then you are going to tell that story because it literally sums everything up. So we're going to save it to the end because we want to let people hear our bullshit talk first.
Adam, you have kids, so you probably know this, but like I don't have kids, but at work I did we do this charity every year. So I organized it, and it's basically we there's a local charity that shelters families, and they have this Christmas thing where you adopt a family, and they give you basically the bio of each family member, mostly the kids, and say like child, boy, 6 years, love superhero.
What we're talking about.
Yeah, that kind of thing. And so I'm charged with like getting this stuff. We do put out a list, and people send in stuff, or usually they send in money. So with that money, I go to the Toys R Us and I Christmas shop for all the kids. And I did that for about 4 or 5 years, leading up to this pandemic. And it saddens me that the boys segment stuff that's based on popular stuff like Marvel and everything, like what Hasbro does with Marvel, the Marvel figures, number one, they're tough to find, and number two, they're inexcusably expensive. I don't know why they start at $30, and I don't know why I saw a 3-pack.
They've gone up. They're into the 32, 33.99
Yeah.
Canadian.
I saw a
Mastron.
3-pack with Iron Man and 2 other characters, and the
Yep.
Iron Man, you press a button and his thing lights up. It was how much was it? It was like over $100, and I didn't know why. I checked it against the scanner thing, and yeah, it was, I think it was $130. And I was like, why is this? I checked on my phone to see if it was like metal or something. I don't know. But that's what they're asking. And there was a family there one time. It was a couple, and they're Christmas shopping for their kids. And they're debating over like what to get. And they're like, well, this is so expensive. And like I guess their one daughter wants a Spider-Gwen, and they're there, but they're like, well, this $30, and then they pick up another item that totally isn't what the kid asked for. And it's like, and this is less expensive. And I'm like, I don't know why. I mean, I'm seeing families agonize over the prices of stuff. It saddens me because I feel it's unnecessary. And also, like, I mean, I know Lego is expensive, but you get a lot of value for Lego. You get a lot.
Lego's always been expensive, and it's always worth money.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, usually with these Marvel sets and stuff, you get like a good 3 or 4 characters. You get maybe 2 structures, like a vehicle and a structure.
Right.
And you can combine those bricks, of course, any way you want or with other sets. So even like a smaller set, like I know they made an Act 2 playset for Last Jedi. I almost forgot the name of that crappy movie. And that thing was one of the lower price point things, but it's still neat. You get 2 characters in it. You get a nice structure. Yeah, you're showing off.
These are the cheap ones.
Yeah,
these are those really, really big. They're about $10.
Yeah,
they're about $10 Canadian.
But they can't interact with like a playset or a vehicle. They're too big, and they don't make them. So
this is a pro. I would say, I don't know what's the age on this thing, but this is like little kid territory. Really big stuff, and you clip the shield on, all that. The next ones are these kind of style ones where this guy's got a little bit of an action thingy. I think these are in the $15, and it's basically the 5 points. It's just like the arms and legs and head. And these are a little bit of the cheaper ones. But the problem is that like this happened to come out with the Prowler, and what was that movie called? Spider-Verse, Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
So those were, I think, $12.99 or something like that Canadian. But you don't get everybody. So you can't have like you can't put this together. Because it's like there's no Captain America to go with your Iron Man or Spider-Man. Like if you got the Spider-Man Spider-Verse guys, you got Prowler, Gwen, whoever else was in that movie or whatever. And then this was like a weird thing because this is like Otto Octavia says like Superior Spider-Man, right? But like, which like nobody knows. So like I'm the only one who knows that. So it's like it's not made for me, but I bought it because I'm like, oh my god, it's Superior Spider-Man. And then there's the what are those little guys called? The DC ones.
The Imaginext?
The Spin Master ones.
Oh,
yes. So Adam had meant this was all part of Adam's conversation.
Yeah.
Now I don't. Yeah. Holy shit. Okay, so I get some of those. I was completely disturbed by the idea that they're asking you to buy several in order to get the proper colored.
I thought that it was different accessories.
That's bullshit.
But yeah, I didn't know until I saw your video, Adam, that it's like different colors. So if you want the red one, you're gonna have to hunt for that. But you don't know because it's like it's hidden, right? Yeah.
Right. Remember, Dr. Claw was hidden, and some kid ripped that open. I was at Zellers or Sears or something.
Zellers, you're aging.
Zellers. Yeah. Dude, and look, that shit was opened in 2 seconds. My buddy and I were like, "Oh, there's what Dr. Claw looks like." Don't try to hide from the. Look, I know we were at a ghetto Zellers, and it's like that package got ripped open in 2 seconds. There's your stupid mystery box for you, buddy, Mr. JJ Mystery Box. Yeah, so don't give me this this collector thing.
I do want to say like where it counts. Like Imaginext, for example, is really neat. The only thing is it's really meant for a younger audience. So if you have like a 8-year-old or a 9-year-old, I don't know if you'd buy an Imaginext, but like the toys are cool, and they make everyone, and there's a lot of neat play features and stuff, and they're very durable. It's all the boxes, but it's
but here's the thing.
Yeah,
you're right. They make everybody.
Yeah.
However, you can't buy everybody. We went to go buy a friend of ours, their son. We went to go buy him Imaginext stuff for his birthday, and the only character we could get was versions of Batman. You could get the Batcave or the Batmobile or the Batwing, or you could get single packed various Batmans. We couldn't send any other character other than the Batman or a Batman villain. So they're there, but the distribution of them is such that like it's become a weird variant, repaint, exclusive thing again, where they have like Imaginext has a Green Lantern Bruce Wayne, and they have rainbow Batmans, and they have like every variation of Batman from the comics, because they're trying to be like this is kind of like this in joke. We're like, this is a deep cut DC reference, when kids just want to have a Batman and other characters to play with.
Yeah, I just want normal Batman. And I remember too when I was a kid, and they pulled this trick with I think it was with Batman Returns, where they had the gold one and the white one with like and they had like and I'm like thinking, okay, I mean that was cool, and I had the gold one and I had the
had never seen it before, right? It was like, well, this is new.
Yeah, but I'm like, I just want normal Batman. Like I just want the black Batman, like the normal Batman that I watched. Why is that? I think when I first started to notice problems was when my niece and nephew, who are now about, she just graduated grade 8, so I don't know ages, however old she is. I don't know any of my 14, sure. So she's 14. So when I like, let's say 4 or 5 years ago, I was showing her the Star Wars movies, and I was showing, and her brother's a couple of years younger, so we were watching them together, and they were kind of getting into it, and I'm like, I went to the store. You can't get Luke. Like you can't get. How can you not get Luke, Leia, Han, Chewie, 3PO, Vader, Storm? But they had all these other rubbish characters. I'm like, okay. I mean, they're cool for me. Like, yeah, Zuckuss. Yeah, he's cool. But like, how can I not get the normal characters? So I can't even start the kids off on a collection. So I started to go through my toys because every time there's a new C3PO, I just buy it because I'm a C3PO nerd or whatever. And I met Anthony Daniels. He's great. But yeah, it's like I'm a C3PO nerd, so I have like 400 C3PO toys. So I'm like literally gathering together a collection of what I could kind of get from my extras to give them to say, here's your starting point. But this is brutal. Like you can't get Spider-Man. Like you can't just walk in and get Spider-Man. He's $32.99. Marvel Legends. He's got 7,000 points of articulation. Well, that's great, but what kid is going to be able to afford to get that? And then you can't even get that anyways. I pre-ordered Wanda, Scarlet Witch, and the White Vision because I love White Vision. Amazon canceled my thing, or they didn't come in. Then I went to Big Bad Toy Store to order it. And then so this is all me I pre-ordered both those figures on several websites, waiting to see who comes in first. And this is when I saw the Adam retro, the GoFigure retro blasting video. I'm like thinking, why am I being such a dumbass? Like, why am I going through all this? It's like, how can I not like? I'm going to give you money, but you don't want to give me product. I don't understand how this works. Like, you should be like, WandaVision was a big hit. Some people liked it, so I loved it. But some people didn't like it. That's fine. But it's a big hit for the nerds. So just why don't they just make them super available? Everyone's going to buy them. What's with this illusion of collectability? Like,
yeah, and again, I think it's a weird thing where like we to an extent might be some of the problem, right? Because we've changed the market from like when we were kids, toys were just like a kid thing. There's very few adult collectors then, but our generation, for the most part, we all just kind of have that nostalgia going forward. So it's like a bigger market. But just sell. What's happened is that they've targeted our market and forgotten about what, in my mind, in the action figure world. Anyways, I know that Lego still does well and Imaginext does. Like there are other toys there, but for the action figure part of it, there's this diversity that's happening to try and be all things to all people, and we don't really in our hearts need or want that. So let's take a character, Optimus Prime, just for example. We can go to Walmart right now. The three of us probably meet, and Markham is probably the hub for the three to get there. And we could go to the toy section of Walmart, and we could find right now today probably 6 versions of Optimus Prime.
Yeah.
He's in all kinds of different form factors. He's all kinds of, and when we were kids, there was Optimus. There was just, that was him. And then there was room for other things on the shelves. But now we have 6 Optimus Primes. We're going to have a place where we're going to have 4 or 5 different He-Mans going on. We're going to have, I guarantee there's at least 4 different kinds of Spider-Man you can get right now. And none of them are real great, but they're all there. And so these brands are diversifying and spreading themselves so thin that there's no room for new characters to come in. And the buying is become so spread out that we were trained as children to collect them all. So then the back of the packages, collect them all. That was my like epiphany, was where I had that Batman versus Superman figure in my hand, and I was like, I don't want to collect them all anymore. And Kenner did it, nailed it in '84. That's the best action figure out there. They've nailed it in '84. Why am I trying to recapture that by buying all these things that are being shelled out to me in all these different form factors, when like I have the Superman that I want?
Yeah,
I can get rid of these Supermans and then have room on my shelf for Captain Power, which I didn't have before because I was trying to buy all the Supermans.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and I was buying every Superman toy as well, and every Wonder Woman toy, and I ended up selling almost all my Wonder Woman toys. I kept a big statue that I had. I got my Superpowers Wonder Woman in the packaging. Yeah. I lost my childhood Superpowers Wonder Woman. I literally had a fit, and I lost my Mego one, the little one with that had the rubber bra that you could flip open. You could like, I'm like,
the comic actions one, or
the pocket
the pocket ones.
Pocket superheroes, yeah.
It was absolutely dreadful. Like she was as bad as Daisy Duke. Like the faces on those were awful, but they're awful. Whatever. But anyway, so yeah, I just kept the choice figures that I want to represent my Wonder Woman collection, and that's all I really need.
Right. Yeah, one thing I want to point out too, which I found interesting, was I know people lament the death of the playset. They do make the Turtles sewer every iteration. Star Wars has died kind of with vehicles and playsets. Most toy lines have, except for Power Rangers. But one thing I found interesting was at the time, girls' toys had playsets the way you imagined they would be. I mean, like the My Little Pony Friendship is Magic had playsets that looked like the thing from the show and had play features and stuff. Monster High had giant playsets and vehicles and stuff. And I was like, how come it's proliferating in girls' toys?
Right.
These toys, it was kind of weird. I was like, oh, that's strange. Usually when there is a play set in boys' toys, it looks very abstract. It's just a bunch of stuff, and nothing looks like a structure. Like, here's this guy's base, or it's like here's a street scene, and above that is, I don't know, a base, and above that is the sky. That's there's that Spider-Man Daily Bugle thing, and it's like a bunch of poles, and it doesn't look like a street at all. It's just weird. Yeah.
I will say we did buy the Spin Masters Batcave for my son for Christmas. And it's pretty on the nose.
It looks pretty cool. It looks pretty cool.
It's
I've
pretty
seen
neat.
that. Those are not too bad, but I mean,
between, right?
Yeah, and they just had to add that little collectability thing in there, right? Just to be.
I was pumped about it, and then I saw that, and I was like, "Come on!"
Seriously. Okay, so Skeptic wants to buy Batman. I don't think anything Batman and Robin is going to be too expensive.
No.
I think
have at it, boy.
Double C, what's going on, dude? Thanks for popping in, man. eBay. Okay, so I'm so happy. So we're talking about now. This comment came in about 5-6 minutes ago. So we've been talking about that, and that's the perception. But you start to think. So I was getting into the WandaVision figures. It's going because Big Bad Toy Stores where we use Canadian dollars. So I'm buying from Big Bad Toy Store in American. So it's like it's gonna cost me about probably $80, right? Maybe a little bit more to get Vision in the white Vision and the Scarlet Witch somewhat proper costume, not the trash she wore in Avengers 2 or whatever. So it's like that's crazy, right? Like. That's really expensive for what this is. This should be super available everywhere, right? Like, this should not be some exclusive thing. It's WandaVision. It just came out. And the other thing that got me, I'll tell you the one that got me. I don't know when this came out. Maybe you guys will know. It was a Marvel Legends. It was Beast, and it was the blue Beast, not Dark Beast, or I know Beast was gray for a few issues before they kind of tinted in blue or whatever. And then there was the Dark Beast, which is the Age of Apocalypse Beast or whatever it is, right? I'm just talking about Blue Beast from the X-Men cartoon. And that was short packed. And you couldn't get it. And I'm like, you can't get the normal Beast. Like, what the hell? So I literally have all the X-Men, right? But I don't have Beast now. So, and then I'm a little bit weird. I'm not like Sean is saying he's like, oh, I don't need to collect it all. I'm someone who does need to collect it all.
Yeah.
But here's what happens. If I can't collect it all, I don't want any of it. So
yeah.
This is the problem. So I tried to pull all these out because we had tech issues. I couldn't get them all. So like I literally got the mermans here. I just found Evelyn today, right? I got Fisto today. I got Clam Champ. I got Ram Man. I got Roboto. I got the Sky Sled. I got Battle Cat. Right,
just going for it.
And now this is over the last few weeks because we couldn't buy during the pandemic, even though I kind of did and no one cared. So anyways, look, I saw Clamp Champ. I'm like, I'm just taking this. No one. Anyways, I'm a rule breaker, but seriously, I can't get He-Man and Skeletor. So now I'm at this point where I'm like, and I got She-Ra. I'm like, I don't have He-Man or Skeletor. I'm like, why? Now I'm literally thinking, why do I even bother with all this? Like,
100%.
Right. So and then I saw that thing, and this was on. Maybe it was Analog Toys, or maybe it was Retro Blasting, or maybe both. They got the. It was Skeletor when he's like Keldor. It's like before Skeletor, and then Trapjaw. I forgot his name. Whatever he was.
His name.
Yeah. Before. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, that looks cool. And it's like, oh, exclusive or some bullshit, or maybe it's in Target, not in Canada. I'm like,
yeah, Target.
Oh, okay. So I'm done. It's like Target exclusive. Are you for real? I thought this was supposed to be for kids and to get people back into I will say, look, the toys are good. Like, I don't know if you guys have these.
The toys are good.
They're good. They are good.
However, kids aren't into He-Man because they have no show to attach them, especially to that He-Man.
Right.
Right.
I already have He-Man toys that look like that, right?
Yeah.
So, and again, it's a very great example. So I had He-Man in my hand to buy it, and I looked at it and I was like, but this looks dumb. Like his face looks stupid.
I remember you saying that.
And I already have a He-Man. So I'm buying something I already have just because this package did a good job about tricking me into being nostalgic. When the reality is, I have the nostalgic He-Man already. And I think like the line that really irritates me is the Marvel Legend Kenner figures that are out right now. Like,
okay. Yeah, I've got
you got real upset there. But
yeah, I got Captain America. That's the only one I got. I want them all. They're awesome. They're exactly.
Here's my thing, though.
You can't get them.
Well, we can't get them in Canada. It's rough to get them. But Canada here, they're like $16-17 a shot. And I can buy a Secret Wars figure
right
cheaper than that. And it's something that's actually vintage. And you go there, you're buying a 5-point of articular action figure that sells you on nostalgia that's not real. You're buying it for box art and a Kenner logo. You're like, oh, it says Kenner, that's so cool. But it's a lie. They're like, it was never a Kenner figure. It was just something that Hasbro's doing to make us buy another Captain America. When I have like my Secret Wars Captain America and my Secret Wars Spider-Man. And then the other part of that, to your point, is it's not like here's the 8 figures, fill your boots. It's like we're going to keep releasing these. We're going to short pack things. We're going to be exclusive. You're never going to collect them all. It's gonna be a fight uphill forever. And so where do you go from there?
Yeah, it's to your point. I'm sorry. I'll just make this one.
Yeah,
point.
go ahead.
I recently bought a carded Captain America and a carded Iron Man from Secret Wars for the same price as one of those $120 like freaking 2-packs, which are brand new. And I was like, you know what? I'd rather get the actual thing that you're trying to invoke.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was gonna say I was just gonna give an example. I've got visual aids because this just came in. So the WandaVision, which is brand new, hit TV series, everyone's saying, "Oh, it's so great" and all that. brand new. Those figures are going to cost me about $80 for $50. Now I know nobody cares about this, and it happens to be something that I like. So,
I care.
well, you might not after you see it, but I got all of these. I love Garrison Kane.
Yeah.
Do you still care?
Do you still care after that? Yeah. So I got all of these this is in the packaging, and this is in the packaging for $50 something.
Yeah.
So I got all of these vintage ones, and look, I like this X-Men toy line. It is what it is. I know you love it. I know you.
A bunch of them right there. It's incredible. It's that toy line is near perfect.
It's great, and I've got 3 Garrison Kanes. I have 2 open. I love Garrison Kane, and just because people don't know who it is makes me even happier. That I like him, but like, and the thing is that like that just came in, and that was like $50 something from. And this is so weird, but the website was called GoFigure or something, which is why I thought it was. Which I actually thought I was like, well, what is that? You
imagine that? I just have a big online store selling you X-Men stuff.
Yeah, but like. But yeah, so again, brand new. These haven't even been released yet. They know they're going to be popular because all of the nerds and everything like this WandaVision stuff, right? Even generic people. My wife doesn't know anything. She really liked it. Like generic people liked it, so they know it's going to sell.
Generic people.
Generic normies. We call them normies.
I love
the normies
that.
Liked it. Skeptic UK, thank you, brother.
Mine are the obsessed, and it's also generic people. There's some great terms being thrown out here tonight.
General audiences, man. Yeah.
No, I gotta be a bit snobby about it. Like, oh, these normal people. It's like,
yeah.
All right. So I think definitely. I mean, look, we're not saying that the WandaVision 2-pack, is cheaper than, like Castle Grayskull in the box or something, right? Like, we're not saying that. But we're saying that, like, on average, what you're looking for. So if you like a vintage merman is not that much, really, right? Like, we're not talking about Scareglow or like a Horde Trooper.
I'm not talking figure to figure. I'm saying if you have a budget, let's say you're married, you say $250 is my 6-week budget for my toy hobby. Right. I think you're going to do better buying vintage with that than you will buying modern, both in end result and frustration and experience. Yeah. So like I have one of our channel rules we established very early on is like no eBay. I'm not buying anything off eBay because I want to part of the fun is the hunt. Part of the fun is like meeting people like yourselves that are selling things. That is kind of what we wanted to do. So just sitting and buying everything off eBay and racking up my credit card bill, that's not fun for me. That's going to get you in the end. But like meeting people, going to toy shows, going to used stores, flea markets, that kind of stuff. That's the fun of the hobby to me. And I forgot that for a while when I was like about acquiring as opposed to the experience of collecting.
Yeah. And I think that is what happens, and you get stuck in this thing, and then you're like, oh, I want to get the next one. And every time, anytime I see stuff, like my wife and my friend, there's a friend of ours, mutual friend of Sean and I, he'll text me every figure that's coming out, and literally it's like all the Marvel Legends, and I'm like, I go through it, and I'm like, you know what? I always wanted White Vision. I've got this White Vision. Sean knows what it is, and you'll know what it is. Remember these PVC?
Yeah.
And I've got Wolverine and Archangel and Nightcrawler, and like so that's
they're expensive now, but like we used to buy them for 50 cents at like
right. And look, okay, Sean, turn away for a sec.
Yeah.
I know Adam doesn't like it either, but I figure Adam would be more.
Oh my god, yeah.
But it's White Vision. It's White Vision. I don't care.
If it brings you joy, fill your boots.
Yeah.
I bought 4 of them.
I find it's so popular because just the designs themselves are not. If you have a master license to some of these things, make the proper thing. Don't make like a big-headed, small-bodied, doll-eyed thing. Yeah.
The thing is like, see, so my wife has I got her into like manga and all that. So she's just like on hardcore, and it's really expensive to get. Like we get her some statues here and there, like Goku, if it's or Kenshin, Guts, any of these like bigger characters that are really worth spending a little extra to get one of those Bondi statues or whatever. But she loves the Funkos because they're very easy to dust. They're very cheap, and they make it's like everyone from Naruto, everyone from Fairy Tail, everyone from One Piece, and it's very easy to just get these and have little collections of them, and we open them. So I don't fault anybody. Like Sean rolls his eyes. I know Michael from Retroblasting despises them. But again, it's like you can collect whatever you want. But the other thing too is that they are cheap. So there is that, and at least there's
we know it's cheaper than Funko Pops. Spending nothing. So
spending nothing. Yes, but then you don't have.
It's like over here.
That's okay. Sean and I are friends for over 20 years, so he knows that it's
all
like,
right. All right.
It's I
want to ask you something, Adam. Do you consider vintage and nostalgia childhood toys, or is there like maybe a 20-year sort of gap? Like I mean, Batman animated series tick. Like, would 90s now factor in, and then would aughts factor in next decade? And
yeah, I think for me, it's anything I played with as a toy.
Yeah,
that's what gets me going. But again, if something brings you that nostalgic feeling, like you go for it. But yeah, I think there's like a 20-year kind of sweet spot, right?
Yeah.
So again, like I talked about this, I think after we were done, but with Michael, that I don't have any vintage Star Wars figures. I don't have any.
Wow. Yeah.
And I'm like, should I dive into that? That's like a very intimidating line. It's a big line. It's cool. But like I had 3 growing up. I got at a yard sale. I had Obi-Wan, Bespin Han, and Bespin Luke that I got at a yard sale. And I was like, oh, who are these? And I'd only ever seen Return of the Jedi at that point in time. So I was like, I think these are from, but it was off my radar because it was, 86, 87, where it was like, I was 5 years old. I just wasn't aware of it. So, the most sought after vintage toy line isn't nostalgic for me.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm like, well, and then those prices keep going up. So if there's some cheap ones I find somewhere, I'll probably pick them up and do an episode of fixing them up. That would be fun. But I'm not going crazy for them because it's not something that me as a child had nostalgia for. Now as a collector, I'm like, oh, everybody like that's the gold standard, right? It's like vintage Star Wars is, the Rosetta Stone that everything else in vintage toy collecting is measured to. But just happens to me, for me, it's not really my thing.
And just to put things into perspective, because we're talking about like short pack and finding things hard to find and stuff. So I'm born in 77. So I was born right into the Star Wars thing.
Yeah.
And so J-Man. And my dad tells a story that I think it was like in 80, 81 around there. He was on business in Ottawa, and my mom told him, like, while you're there, pick up stuff, right? For Sean for Christmas. And so he went to a Kmart and he's looking for Star Wars stuff, and all the shelves are bare, and there's other parents and they're all frustrated. And some poor dude comes out of the back with a bunch of Kenner cases and got mobbed, and he had to quickly price them as parents are taking stuff, and he's like, the poor guy got destroyed by these parents and stuff, and there's all like snow stormtroopers and like big warmer guys, but yeah, and I think my dad managed to get the Rebel Transport, which I loved really as a kid. I just rebought it recently, but without the breather belts and stuff, but just a box and thing. But yeah, I mean, people suffered through this kind of thing back in the day, back before we there was even sort of like a united like figure fandom, and maybe it was because of the demand for Star Wars. But
yeah, I was going to say, do you think it's because demand was high because the movies were good quality and the toys were loved, or was it the company being dicks and being like, well, we're not going to release these?
Struggling with how to deal with these crazes. It's like, the whole Cabbage Patch thing. It's like all of a sudden, for whatever reason, toys were hot as hell, and toy companies were becoming Fortune 500 companies in the 80s, and I think they just didn't know how to keep up with demand, It's, I think that was part of it. Like, Star Wars had never been seen before, that kind of craze. I mean, I know that Like Planet of the Apes was big when the TV series was out, and then started making toys. But nothing like Star Wars had been seen before, or Cabbage Patch Kids and stuff, right?
Yeah, Star Wars changed the game, and then the glorious '80s, as we want to call them, people would just throw things against the wall and see what stuck.
Yeah.
Right. And so we got Visionaries, and we got Sectars, and we got Captain Power, and we got all these like. Yeah. Does this work? Does this work? Does this work?
And the innovations, like, sorry to cut you off, but the like one of my favorite toy lines of all time is Starcom. I think it's so clever and ingenious. It's like no batteries, right? It's everything's magnet, and you wind something up and you put a magnet guy on there and stuff happens. It's so great, and I've never seen that kind of innovation since. I
like Sky Commanders. Nobody ever talks about. I like Sky Commanders.
Yeah,
I'd put them on the ropes and stuff. That was wicked, man.
I always
did I give you those, Sean?
All the Sky Commanders have to be the cliffhanger toy line.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But
you're gonna say, Adam? Yeah.
But if again we went to that same Walmart toy section, we go into the toy aisle, what we would see is we'd see DC superheroes, we'd see Marvel superheroes, we'd see Transformers, we'd see Jurassic Park, we'd see some wrestling, but not a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Star Wars, maybe. But those are all brands and ideas that were there when we were kids.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing, no toy company saying like, let's make, I don't know, a team of gymnastics experts, spies, and they got to get these power suits on. And you're like, okay, well, like there's no new adventures we're going on. It's just this recycling, we don't see Masters of the Universe, but that's, again, a recycled idea. And so we're seeing lots of versions of those, but we're not seeing any new inventive play ideas come out.
But I think once again, it's little kids and girls where you see the newer stuff, but it's not what you'd think, because we think in terms of like those franchises that they're attached to a story or a show. Mm-hmm. But like, Hatchimals was a big craze, and like Fingerlings and like Shopkins and all this crap. And that's not something that appeals to us, but like to a newer generation, right? Those are big crazes. So
those crazes last a year.
Yeah, right? A year. Yeah, they're not going to be recycled 20 years from now. Yeah.
It's the fidget spinner thing where it's like it's a Christmas item, it's big, and it's going on there. But yeah, so those are happening. But specifically speaking, boys' toys, which is a big market, right? Boys are very play oriented. I've got a son, and I know that like he's very play oriented, and there's no new ideas. And so what's going to be in a business that, let's be honest, right? The big two, Mattel and Hasbro, are doubling down on nostalgia right now, right? Mm-hmm. They're making money. What's going to be tomorrow's nostalgia for my son? Yeah. Right. What's going to be tomorrow's nostalgia for your nieces? It's going to be this. There's nothing new coming out.
And I know the argument is, well, video games are big now, but I feel like toy companies have made video games big because it's like, it's like the innovation is there, the new stories and new characters are there. It's like, why wouldn't you come up with something new? Yeah,
and video games are fun, but there's no permanence. There's nothing tactile you're holding on to.
Yes.
And I'll say this, we have video games in our house clearly, but we are very conscious of like how much screen time do you get for so much creative play. Because video games, you're passively enjoying it. You're doing things, but you're not being inventive. You're not building a world yourself. Whereas toy play and creative play, you're creating a world around you, right? Like we all had our G.I. Joes and our Masters of the Universe as a kid, and we were given broad strokes ideas from the show, but we had our own adventures and our own things we would make up all the time.
Yeah, and I think with video games, this just came up on my stream the other day. The new video games aren't even like the old video games where it was like, to me, it was like skill oriented. I still play Street Fighter, and like Donkey Kong, if you got to the next screen, like when I passed the Pie Factory in Donkey Kong, I was like, this is the greatest day of my life. Like, my God, it's like, because it represented a new level of skill that I've acquired, that now I can time this. Or Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat, where I literally stood next to a human and tested my skill of Ken versus his skill of Chun-Li or whatever.
Right.
Now, that's video games to me. Now video games are really just stories that you play out. Because I played the Batman games, and it's like, and you walk around and you play out a story, and you're like, wow, this is cool. I feel like I'm Batman. Once you play out that story, you're kind of done. And to me, I got to the point where I'm like, well, I'm just going to watch the Batman movie then. Like, I don't need, or the cartoon or Brave and the Bold or something. It's like, there's not even a point to me playing this if I'm just going to act as Batman. So that's why toys were like, I mean, I would think toys would be really cool because you make your own environments. Like, and I would use the Secret Wars with the superpowers.
100%.
And then you got Spider-Man, Superman teaming up. You're like, and I do the handshakes, like, thank you, Spider-Man, for helping. It's like, yeah, thanks, Superman. And you're like, this is the greatest thing I've ever heard of. Like, I've now combined all the universes into one.
I was gonna say, like, they do merchandise like video game. Well, there was Skylanders, right, which was the 2-in-1, but Fortnite figures. Like, my question is, who are they for? Because they're like $40 and up. They're colorful and neat, and they're based on a very popular game. But who in hell is buying these? Like, it has to just be collectors, because I can't see a parent buying like 2 or more for their kids. Right?
Not when their kids are playing Fortnite as opposed to playing with toys that look like Fortnite.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I think it's definitely for the adult collector who really needs to have all the action figures. Like, I want to have all of them, no matter what they are.
Yeah.
I think that's who's buying those, but it's not like here's a show, here's a thing, and a big launch, right?
Yeah.
And your imagination would do stuff. When I remember being in a store the first time I saw Visionaries.
Yeah.
And I was like, Dad, can I get a Visionary? And he goes, well, what's a Visionary? I said, it's awesome. Like, I had no idea what it was, but I knew that it was awesome. And I got Leoric and the bad guy with the slug on his chest.
I don't know any of the names of anything, but Visionaries are awesome. It said that on the back. They're just awesome.
But I took them home, and all of a sudden I didn't need a story, because I was like, all I know is that these guys, they have holograms on them.
Yeah.
Got weapons, and this is a good guy, this is a bad guy. I got the rest figured out. Right? Yeah. I got this. No worries. And then you see the show, and you're like, oh, they kind of talk like Shakespeare for some reason. But again,
sorry, go on.
As I say, but it's again the idea of walking in and seeing something new, and then your imagination going places. I haven't seen it happen in 10 years.
Yeah, and I was disappointed. I was going to say when they made that multi-pack box for Comic-Con or something, and one of them was a Visionary with just a shiny emblem on his chest rather than an actual hologram. It's like, they're not going to go through the trouble of making a hologram, right? Well, it's like those Silverhawks that aren't chrome. It's like, well, then why did you?
Right, that's bullshit. And actually, Adam just fixed the Visionary the other day.
Yeah,
and you can really make that yourself if you really wanted to.
Yeah, I think mine look better than the Comic-Con ones. They're not right. holograms either, but they look just like
they look better. Yeah, right. That's bullshit. Yeah, if it's not Silverhawks is a bunch of bullshit. If it's not, I saw those toys and I was like, you know what, fuck this bullshit. It's not even Silverhawks.
The old ones.
That's the whole point of.
Yeah.
My God, look, we know Silverhawks is an ass toy line, but they look awesome. And it's like, okay, so no, here's the problem. Okay, this is the problem with everything, with movies and comics and shows and video games. When someone tells you something and you know what they're referring to, your imagination starts to go crazy. So someone's like, hey, we're doing Silverhawks, brand new today, right now, baby, 2020 or whatever. You're like, oh my God. Then you start to imagine, like, wow, modern technology. Right. And you're like, oh, they're going to be like shiny and they're going to be all chrome. This is going to be sick. And then you see them, you're like, this is not what I imagined. And you're like, this sucks. And it's like,
the gimmick was in the name, Silver.
Silver. I was like, right. So as soon as you see, it's like, you guys just failed immediately. Like, because, and then who are you appealing to? Somebody who doesn't know what Silverhawks is? No, you're appealing to someone who does know what they are. And if it's not the stupid damn thing I had, but just better. And I'll say this for the He-Man Origins, at least it's the toys that we had, but they are a little bit better. They look like the same toys. So I'll give them that credit for that.
On the same page, though, YouTube is now filled with toy reviewers trying not to hate the Masterverse He-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? They're just like, because they got it free from Mattel, and they're like reviewing it. And they're like, so here's He-Man. His head's a little small.
It's garbage, yeah.
And his hands fall off a little bit. And again, I'm like, okay, you're doing something new, but you're not. You're just doing another He-Man, and we're running up. Like, how many He-Mans do we need? And this is from a guy who loves He-Man, but like I have my He-Man. I would really want them to say, give me something new. Like I would be apt to collect a new figure line if it was something new and exciting.
Yeah.
Like,
my favorite bit of business about that is when they made the new Technodrome for the second Ninja Turtles movie, like the Platinum Dunes one, and I have it. That new Technodrome it's literally trash because it's flimsy. It's like the plastic is like the old General Lee Mego plastic that you can like rip with your hand.
Oh, dude, that broke the day.
Almost zero like play features and just YouTubers struggling to come up with something great. And it's like, you know what? It's a little flimsy, but you know, for my money, it's great. You know, it's some good crap like that. And I'm like, guys, this is awful. It's embarrassing. But hey, I got mine marked down to like it was $10. I just bought it because you know, I still want it. I know I'm part of the problem, but still,
hey, don't Funko Pop me your bullshit with that. You know it was crap. Okay. This brings us to the third rule of acquisition. I mean, sorry, I was watching Deep Space Nine. The third rule of modern day toy collecting, or the third lie, which is that they're better and better quality on it. Firstly, NECA. I watched the retro. I have no affiliation with retro blasting at all or whatever. I'm not saying this in a Zack Snyder Geeks and Gamers way. I'm just saying this as a yeah, I love it. But literally, I've watched his NECA video like 7 times. I'm like, this is so funny because literally, I opened up and it's right there. Alien 1 is my 11th favorite movie. I actually have my rankings of movies. Alien, the first movie, is one of.
How specific you are. It's my 11th favorite movie.
It's literally because it didn't make my top 10, but it's right there.
Right.
Anyways, I bought the part 1 Alien. It has to be the part 1 Alien. It can't be the Alien Resurrection or something. So I bought the part 1 Alien, opened it up, arm came off immediately. I'm like, well, I did nothing. And I'm not some idiot, right? Who like goes like this and like, oh, what happened? Like, you know, I'm one of these guys, like I cut it slowly, open it up, just like a nerd, right? Pull it out, everything looks good. I moved the arm, broke off. I'm like, okay. So then I'm like, okay, I'm like, oh man, bad luck. Oh shoot, you know, J-Man, you're a dumbass, you have bad luck. Predator toys came out. I love Predator 2. I don't care. It's 10 out of 10. So I want the Predator 2 Predator, right? Predator 2 Predator. Opened up. He's got that disc, remember? That like fucking cut through shit. So I put the disc, it shattered. It shattered. And I was like, this is shattered. And I thought, and then I'm thinking, I'm like, man, that Alien was like $49.99 or something. And this Predator was like $50. And then I look and I realize, like, wow, I bought a bunch of Predators and a bunch of Aliens. I thought, I can't open these. And now my theory, we discussed this before, if it's not, I need to have it on display. If it's not on display, why do I have it? And then I'm like, well, I'm getting rid of these now. And it's so garbage. And I thought I was alone in this. I thought, wow, how did I get so much bad luck? And then I saw that video of Michael's. And I had that Alien years before I even knew that NECA was notoriously bad. I didn't know that.
Right.
And I'm like, my God. And they're so garbage. It's like I'm not going to play with it. I can't even put it on my shelf. And Sean, you see, my stuff is bloody perfect. Like, my discs, I have 4,000, I have 3,000 movies now. I sold 1,000, but I have 3,000 DVDs and Blu-rays. There's not a speck of dust on anything.
Your level of accounting is amazing.
I have a spreadsheet. I have an Excel
DVDs, so now I have 3,000. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
You're very aware of your volumes.
I have an Excel spreadsheet.
It's incredible.
Anyways, but yeah, go ahead. What are your guys' thoughts on the quality of toys?
Well, it's just funny again with the NECA stuff because Predators are the coolest designed aliens ever of all time, and Aliens are just like those two franchises merging together is like a Reese's peanut butter cup. Like it's
right.
So I was like always very tempted to get into the NECA stuff with those two lines because I was like, like they're so cool and I was like, but the price and the quality, I was like, oh. But then when they released the figures painted like the Kenner ones from the 90s, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to buy the Kenner ones from the 90s.
Yeah.
And so I bought a lot like a month or two ago. I got the Alien Queen. I got the regular Xenomorph. I got the Gorilla one. I got the Bull one. I got 2 of the Kenner Predators. I got Hicks, Ripley, Apone, and Bishop, all for $45. So for the price of less than one, and I got the power loader. So for the price of less than one NECA figure, I have a whole shelf full of aliens and predators. And I'm like, that is vintage. It's fantastic. They're not going anywhere. They're not going to break. They can fall over all the time and let it happen. We'll put them back up. And so I know those figures have lasted this long. They're not going to go anywhere. Like they're not. So again, buying new stuff, you're paying so much, and then you got to be so careful with it. And you're like, is this going to break? Is this going to break? And worrying about if my toy was going to break as a kid was never a concern. You play with it, and if it broke, you're like, oh, I guess he's going to have tape on his arm. And so, you know, when opening a toy is a concern to you because you don't want to break it in opening it, you have not spent your money wisely, in this man's opinion.
Yeah, and the alien that I had, where you squeeze the back of his head and it was like a suction thing and it would shoot out the mouth. Is that that's one of the ones, right?
I got it, and it's fantastic.
Yeah, I had that as a kid. I dropped that 4,000 times. Like I dropped that all the time, and literally it'd be like, okay, Jay, pick up your shit. You pick it up, you threw it in a box, and it's like the alien. Yeah, I like my heart was broken, and my wife's like, oh no, because I have a whole alien display. Here, you can't see it. It's on the other side. And so intricate, like putting every little thing. I'm like, the alien broke. I'm like, that was the centerpiece. I had that with the egg opening up with the little guy coming out, the facehugger coming out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's now I literally just crazy glued the arm where I want it. So it's kind of like this over top of
you buy an action figure, then you get a statue.
And you get a statue.
Right.
One.
I was going to say, like, there's clearly a choice made, though, and that's what's so frustrating and kind of sinister, in that, like, NECA charges top dollar for these toys, and they shatter, and they're famous for that now. But like, I don't know if you know about the Dollarama dwarf toys. They're called Summon Dwarves or something. I bought the whole collection. They're durable. They're cool. Whatever, they're $2 each. I know, and much was made about the Dollar Tree. I think it's called Final Faction. And they're cheap, they're durable, they're made to be toys, made to be played with. It's cool. Leonard, who for years made knockoffs and stuff like the Core and all that. They recently acquired. Well, now they're getting bigger stuff. Now they got Kong at one point, but also they have Alien now. And the Alien toys are made to be toys, and they're now some of the sets are like about maybe $50 or something, but you get a bunch of stuff. You get like a good guy. You get a vehicle.
They did Rampage too, didn't they?
Yeah, Rampage was the one. Yeah, and they made a rock figure that looks like ridiculous, but anyway, but it's like a G.I. Joe-ish rock figure. He's cool. But yeah, like you get these sets that have like a few aliens, a few vehicles, you know, like one of the humans. And I haven't seen any complaints about limbs falling off of those. So it's like they're making toys, and they know how to make them, and they know what their price points are, and they know who their audience is, and they're made to be played with. And for whatever reason, if your thing is a collectible, then it should be cheaply made. Shatter in your hands. I don't understand that mentality. And clearly there's a choice being made here, because you see the quality difference between the two types of toys.
I think it comes down to the excuse that is there. Maybe it's legitimate. I don't know. Like, again, we are 3 guys talking in our toy rooms, so we don't know what's going on behind the doors at NECA. So I always try to assume the best of people. Yeah. But they're making such small runs of them. And we know this because we can't get what we want to get. So I think it's like we're making a very few number of these things. What's the cheapest way we can get it to market? And so when those decisions are made, it's not like we're going to make, 50,000 Man-at-Arms figures this year.
Yeah.
Let's make them so that, we can put some money into it. I think that we've as collectors, we've created more of the problem of like, we're never, like, as a group, not us 3, but as a group of collectors, like, we're never really satisfied, right?
Yeah.
Right. We're like, we had the very first Spider-Man Classics multi-jointed figure that started the whole Marvel Legends thing. And like, that was great. And then we're like, okay, what's next? What else you got? Right. What's the next one going to be? And so we're never satisfied. And so that, for me, it was very much like, I'm gonna do vintage because that matte tracker, that one matte tracker, that's gonna satisfy me, you know.
Yeah.
Lieutenant Falcon from G.I. Joe, that guy is gonna I don't need to buy the classifieds one. I don't need to buy the anniversary one. I've got, and it's, to me, it's all about choosing to be content with my acquired nostalgia.
Yeah, I mean, I got the Reaction Karate Kid figures, and and that's something weirdly that ended up at Dollarama.
So I have the whole set there because they were at I went to the Dollarama time and they were all there. And I was like, oh,
what the heck? Vroom, scoop.
And you picked up the Star Trek ones too, right, Sean?
The Star Trek was there too, yeah. But I was gonna say, like, on the packaging, because I hadn't bought Reaction figures before, and on the packaging I noticed it said this is not a toy. Something like it not meant to be played with or something like that. But I still pulled them out and posed them on my desk at work and stuff like that. And I was like, you know what? I don't know, like, and I'm well aware of the fact that they can probably shatter in my hands, but at a certain point you have to ask, why are they being made in the first place? Like, I get the idea of displaying them on your card and everything. But you do want to pop some out, and they are toys, Well, there was one packaging where you could play with the toy inside the bubble. I can't remember what that was. And it was like a Star Wars toy or something.
That's brutal.
Boba Fett around was the first
one.
That
one? Yeah, you can spin it around and you can manipulate it a bit inside its packaging. Yeah.
The Reaction figures, I think, is an example of a cool thing that really went off the rails. Yeah. So like when it was here's Alien. We have the unproduced molds. Here they are. I'm like, oh, that was cool. Like that breaks my lies. So it's like, here is something that was supposed to be and it's not. So I'm like, okay, I'm into that. And then that did well. So they started doing other nostalgic lines. But now they're doing things that were never meant to be in that scale. Like they're doing Ninja Turtles and Thundercats and He-Man.
Right.
And like, get out. Like, no, this I'm out. Like they become the new Funko Pops. And I'm like, that's not, I'm out.
Yeah, Karate Kid, like the dream is that anything that wasn't made, you make it in the Star Wars type of 5POA. But Karate Kid had a action figure, and they made everybody. They even made the referee from part 1. I mean, they made everyone. So they made Chosen. So, I mean, you don't, there doesn't need to be a Reaction like Kennerish version of that, right? So, at a certain point, the fantasy fizzles because it's like, why am I buying this? And like, make stuff that like they made they were gonna make a Last Starfighter. So remake those molds. How about that?
Yeah,
I'd get that.
That's what I was thinking. When I saw
Last Starfighter, Gunstar.
Yes.
Yeah, when the aliens came out, when the aliens, I have the entire Alien Reaction figures because when they came out, like I love aliens, so like, oh wow, I got to get all these, and it was so cool. And then you're right, it started to go really wonky. It's like they start doing everything. I'm like, okay, well, yeah, Ninja Turtles. Well, Ninja Turtles are this big. Like, why are you making little ones? And they don't look like Ninja Turtles. It's like, this is weird. The worst is like Thundercats and shit. Like, are you for real? He-Man? It's like, no, He-Man needs to be the big one, right? Like it just doesn't make any sense.
Toys went beyond that 3/4 inch 5POA after about 1980, 81 around there. I mean, even Kenner didn't recreate that for Superpowers. And Kenner made the freaking Star Wars toys. So it's like, toys evolved beyond that. I guess they didn't. To me, they should have like hit a sweet spot of like 1978 to 81. Any properties in that time do a Reaction thing, but they just saw dollar signs in their eyes and said like Ninja Turtles sell, and
Now, the only Reaction figure I ever paid full retail for was the Rocketeer, because that never had any toys.
Yeah,
and like, I love the Rocketeer, and it was just such a cool little figure. But even that. Yeah. I paid full retail. I love buying it, and I got it back to my room, and I put it up. And I was like, I feel weird putting that up because it's like it's not real. It's because it's not a real vintage toy. It's trying to be something that it's not.
Yeah,
I love the Rocketeer. So I don't think I bought did I buy Rocketeer? I can't remember, but I bought Snake Plissken in both versions. I bought Big Trouble in Little China. John Carpenter is my favorite director. I love Escape from LA and New York, of course. New York is in my top 10. I love LA. I don't care. Just like the song, I love LA. Right?
It's got the best CGI surfing of any movie.
Guaranteed. Hands down. And Peter Fonda. Come on. He surfs with Peter Fonda. That's awesome.
Incredible.
But yeah, so I got suckered into those because look, it's Snake Plissken. It's like there's not going to really be tons of Escape from New York, stuff. And I bought the Big Trouble in Little China ones too because again, it's just like, but I don't really need them. But
now they're doing the same thing with the He-Man molds, right? They're doing like the horror guys and doing Thundercats and He-Man style, and I'm like, I just it becomes too much, right? Like how many Lion-Os do I need to have when I can just have the 1985 Lion-O and be done with it?
Yeah.
It's way too. I've restricted myself to literally just the vintage Star Wars to complete that, vintage He-Man to complete that, and then when Marvel Legends come out, if it's a character I've always kind of like, I love Polaris. I've got a tattoo of Polaris. I bought the Polaris one, and then they did the Polaris from the X Factor in her X Factor costume, the 2-pack. I'm like, well, I'll get that. I'm going to get the ones I want. I really want White Vision. I always want. There's never been a White Vision figure to. Oh no, there was some really hard to get one in like a 3-pack with Hulk or something, which is like hundreds of dollars. So I'm like, well, I'll just get this White Vision, and that'll be good enough. So I get the ones here and there because I'm just a sucker for it, anyways. But it's just too hard to like really keep up with all these.
Yeah, I've really gotten into collecting smaller lines, so like Sectars, Visionaries, or like ones that you can within 8 figures. You're like, oh, I kind of got them all now. And
right.
Brave Star, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And Dick Tracy. I remember you were talking about Dick Tracy. I had every Dick Tracy figure except for Lips and Blank. I couldn't find Blank and Lips. I don't know why I didn't have Lips, but I literally had every single figure. I still have every figure. I lost the accessories, but I have every single one of them still.
I can't say no to a cheap Dick Tracy figure. I've got like 7 Dick Tracys. I have the whole line, but every time I see a Dick Tracy, I'm like, I can't let you go away for $1. You're coming home.
Sean loves that movie, doesn't he, Sean?
Listen, my problem was always they have like 30 villains and they all die. It's like, were you planning to make a sequel? Like, what the hell?
Nope.
He killed
they didn't make
all his enemies with reckless abandon. It is
I don't know. As a kid, I didn't think about that.
They could have made a great Prune Face movie and a great like Hammerhead movie, and so
these just happen to be right next to me. These just happen to be right next to me. So these are the cereals and all that. I always liked Cue Ball. I thought Cue Ball was a cool character. They didn't do shit with him, but it's like, look, I mean, I don't care. It's like if all these villains die in this movie, at least we got to see them in the movie.
It's like Transformers the movie, but Dick Tracy version.
Dude, come on.
They didn't kill Dick Tracy.
No way. Yeah. No way. No. Don't throw Michael Bay's name in with anything else.
No, like, Transformers the movie. The real one.
The cartoon. Okay, I take that back.
Oh my god.
Sorry. We're good.
Adam understood me.
I got you. I just am saying they didn't kill Dick Tracy 20 minutes.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Sorry. Okay, I thought you were saying it's the Michael Bay, like where it's like because Jazz died and all these other guys died and they didn't care. They lifted up Jazz's body. They lifted up Jazz, who's broken in half, and he's like, "Our friend Jazz is dead," and drops him. And I'm like, that's like you picking up your brother who's been severed in half and holding up his torso and be like, "Oh, my brother's dead."
You haven't been in that situation before?
No. I crossed that one off the bucket list. I love the Transformers. Sean knows I love that the animated movie. I've bought it every single time it's come out. 4K is coming. I'll be buying it on 4K.
Is it coming? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. This might get me kicked off the show.
Oh, I'm getting ready. Hold on, let me get to the remove button.
But I was and I'm a GoBots guy, not a Transformers.
Oh, yeah.
GoBots is great.
You know what's great about GoBots? Like GoBots, so Transformers came out when I was 6, and I was like into Transformers. I watched GoBots a bit, but the thing is, I always ignored that show. I got them on DVD and I watched them again. It's probably the lore of it is way better written than Transformers. They explain what they are. It's like Transformers, they always had trouble explaining what the hell they were and why they were female ones and stuff. GoBots, they're not actually robots. They have human brains, and yeah, they transfer their bodies into transfer their minds into robots and continue their war. And Gobatron is interesting because it's a planet with like GoBot planet, like sort of like half complete around it. It's kind of like, it looks like a cored apple, and that little small part is all like mutants and like, you know, nuclear waste and stuff, and like GoBots hate to go there. It's really intensely interesting compared to Transformers.
But even just as a toy line, I was like, GoBots are all the same scale. They work with Hot Wheels, whereas like Transformers, we have this Bumblebee is the size of Optimus Prime's wheel. And then Megatron's a full-size gun. I didn't as a toys. I was like, I'm out. I can't.
It's weird, yeah.
And we know the reasons now, but back then we didn't know the reason. And I did think that was weird. I'm not a big Transformers guy. Which is why I like Hot Rod. But like, and I didn't cry when Optimus Prime died. I did cry when he opens the Matrix though, just because of the happiness I felt that he's making the wrong things right again. But anyways, but my best friend growing up, his grandmother worked in the Tonka factory.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about.
She literally brought home every GoBot. He literally had everybody. There's no packaging. There's nothing. She knew the guys off the factory floor. They'd be like, yeah, now I work at a boxing. Like I had, do you remember when I think it was The Dark Knight Return? No, The Dark Knight. Yeah, or maybe it was Dark Knight Rises. It was either Dark Knight or Dark Knight Rises, where Domino's did pizza boxes. Do you guys remember this?
It was the Dark Knight.
Dark Knight.
Yeah.
I have those pizza boxes. We made them. My company made them. So I actually have them uncut, like before they go through the machine. So they're like flat and right. And I even have the paper. It's called litho laminate. I have the paper that goes on top of it. So I had rolls of that, and I had unused boxes formed because I worked there. So they're like, "Jay, you like Batman?" They're like, "Do you want all this shit? We're throwing it out. Like we're gonna recycle it." I'm like, "I'll take it." I sold that. I sold those at conventions. Uncut Dark Knight pizza boxes. It's like a flat square. Anyways, so same kind of thing. So she would bring like. He'd have tons of everybody because there'd be a defect and they just they junk it. Like maybe, you know, the wing came out funny, junk it. Well, she'd be just like, take what you want. So I don't know if he had perfect, complete, good, you know, but he had all the GoBots.
He had exclusive variants.
Yeah.
But GoBots was cool too because they're so small they could make playsets, right? So that was cool too.
But the thing is, you can go there and get Optimus Prime and he was like $30, or you could get 7 GoBots for the same price.
Right.
So I was like, GoBots, please.
Thanks for joining us, MIB. I appreciate you coming by. Yeah, I mean, GoBots is cool. I never got into Transformers or GoBots. I think I had equal amounts of both. And I never watched. Is GoBots on DVD, Sean? Do I own GoBots?
It is. Yeah, the movie isn't, but
okay. So I don't think I own it.
Ask Sean if you owned GoBots.
Yeah, I don't know what I own anymore. Sean knows. Somebody asked me earlier in the chat. I think it was Skeptic. If I own all of the Beast Wars stuff, right?
You were earlier. You're like, I got an Excel sheet. I got 3,000.
I know. I know the numbers.
You have GoBots.
I don't think I have GoBots. I know the numbers, but I don't know.
You don't buy the cartoons as much as I do, so
yeah. I have all of Beast Wars and then Beast Machines. That's the or whatever. I've got all of that.
Yeah.
So I have everything except for that Scramble City thing, which is like
Scramble City.
Yeah, Scramble City. I don't have that, but everything else. But I don't think that came out officially, did it?
Yeah, but I don't think they released GoBots versus.
No, it's a feature.
It's a feature. Yeah. So GoBots was that officially released, or is that it's a high seas version, or?
It's on YouTube, man. You could watch it there.
Hasbro's channel replays G.I. Joe 24/7.
And G.I. Joe, all the G.I. Joe is free on Tubi, anyways.
Yeah, it's all on there. Yeah. But they literally play it on YouTube on repeat. They actually, Double C asked about Beast Wars. I have every Transformers thing that I need to own. And I even have the Michael Bay movies.
Yeah, Beast Wars is a little after a time, but I watched it and I like the show. But now to a generation that is nostalgic Transformers to them.
100%.
And I know there's a new movie coming out, and I think it's called Rise of the Beasts, and I guess it's going to be Beast Wars characters. So
I'm sure this time it'll be brilliant. This will be the
I don't
this will
think
be the
Michael
one
Bay
that
is
really,
involved. So
Let's not hate too much. Bumblebee was fantastic.
I didn't see it yet.
Yeah, Michael Bay didn't direct it. So
No,
Yeah.
but Bumblebee was like a legit great movie.
Oh yeah, I
It
own
was
it.
cool. Yeah, it was cool. I would like to see more Transformers in it, but it was neat. It was
But the
part of
Transformers you saw were the proper Transformers.
yeah, well, that's the thing. It's part of the world you remember of Transformers, right?
Right.
So
Right.
yeah, but they have that stupid thing where he can't talk and all that, So yeah.
Yeah, but it was still great.
Yeah, I gotta watch that. I have it on 4K. I haven't watched it yet, just because I don't know. I just got Nobody. Did you get Nobody? That came out.
I didn't get that yet. No.
Yo, it's so good. Did you watch that yet?
Yeah, Nobody's fantastic.
That was awesome. Yeah, I put it with my John Wick movies. Beast Machines was the spinoff. Yes, yeah, I've got that as whatever. I have everything that you would consider a classic Transformers thing. And I own the garbage Michael Bay movies just to have them on a shelf to say I have the Transformers stuff here.
That's the problem, man.
I know. I listen. That's fine, but I need it for arguing purposes, right? You know this, Sean. I need if I'm going to argue with these people, I need to have everything and be like, look, I bought it all, so you can't fight me.
I will get it eventually. It's just I'll probably never watch them.
Yeah, me neither. I won't watch it again. But we never saw them in theater.
To you, Sean, that if you're not going to watch them, don't buy them.
Yeah, I guess
it doesn't work. It doesn't work.
Eventually, but
the obsession is kicking in. It's like, well, it's Transformers, and they made 5 of them, and they were popular, but I never liked them. So
no, it doesn't work because it's like it's impossible. You have to get it. It's impossible. Like
I don't know. Man.
Okay, so I think we're pretty good. Any other final points before we wrap up? Just in toy collecting. Look, if you're collecting toys, that's great. Do what you want. Adam said it. Just don't be a douchebag to everybody. Basically, any final words, Sean?
No. I mean, you're right. Just collect how you want. We made some points about modern collecting, and hopefully there'll be improvements in coming years.
Cool. All right, well, we're going to end off with Adam. So just remind everybody again about your channel, and there is links in the description of this video as well. So that's always going to be up there. Check it out. He really does great stuff with fixing up old toys. So I'm going to put you up, Adam, and go for it.
Yeah. So like I say, we're GoFigure. We drop a new video every Friday plus some bonus ones. I got a couple neat guests lined up for the next few weeks. So we drop a fixed video every Friday, and then some bonus conversations, like we just did one with Retro Blasting, and I have a couple other guests on the docket, and so that's what's coming up. Our next video, we're going to be doing Mastering the Universe Part 2, where we fix up my 2 favorite Masters of the Universe figures, and then after that, we're going to go into the Cops line. So
man.
That's what we got coming up. Exciting stuff.
Everyone seems to hate the Cops line, but like
I liked Cops.
Well,
oh my god, because it was like G.I. Joe kind of, but like they're just bigger G.I. Joe.
A little bigger,
I thought they were really cool. Dr. Bad Vibes.
So, if you want to think about it for a second, Cops was the first 6-inch highly articulated action figure, which is what we collect right now. Like Cops was the prototype for what is the big thing driving the industry right now. So they were way ahead of their time.
I thought they were like 4-inch or something like that.
No way. They're big guys.
Oh yeah! Wow.
Yeah. Get the proof.
Yeah, get it out, man.
Get the receipts.
Like, see, like they're a good size.
Oh yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Ready to go.
Yeah.
So it's that's one of the lines that I absolutely love, and you can get dirt cheap.
Yeah, they're really cool, and I like the designs of the vehicles too. Like there's that one cop car where it's just a clamshell. Just the whole thing opens up. That was neat. I like that.
So I have almost the full line. I'm missing 2 or 3.
Yeah.
And I haven't paid more than $3 a figure.
Oh yeah. People don't like it for some reason. So like, all the more for you. So
buy them now before someone makes a trash movie on them. Because once they make a trash movie on it, everyone's going to want to buy it.
I just remember with cops in the show, there was
Oh wait, nobody likes the cops right now, at least in the States. So yeah, that's not gonna happen.
There was a Mountie character in Cops, and they made this whole joke where like it's cold outside, and he's like, "Oh, it's so hot," and he's like sweating and stuff. It's like because he's from Canada and it's cold.
Right, that's how we do it.
Oh dear God! Oh my God! Yeah, so that's brutal. Sorry, I had to throw that one on there. I know that's always such a lame joke here with Canadian. Like I'm sweating hot right now, man. I was out today. It was a little bit cloudy over here, and it's still damn hot. So I don't know what these people are talking about.
It's really humid, yeah.
But my igloo today just did lose Wi-Fi, so that kind of sucks. How's your guys' igloos doing?
I'm doing great. My igloo's fine. I got the AC running to keep her together.
People legit think this, so we got to be careful.
I added an extension to the igloo, so yeah.
we got to be careful. People will legit think that's true. They're like, "Oh, are you guys?"
We live in
I'm on the 22nd floor, so
there you go.
Big igloo.
Yeah. All right, guys, I'm gonna put you guys backstage and just do a little bit of cleanup. But thanks so much, Adam, for coming on, man. I really appreciate it. This is a great talk.
Yeah, anytime.
Cool, man. All right, I'm just gonna put you guys backstage for just a minute. All right, guys, that's going to wrap it up for Phantom Zone for today. Sean, me, Steven, and Gray Malkin are going to be here tomorrow for the Danger Room. We're going to talk about comics, Loki, Superman and Lois, whatever else came out. The Shazam costumes, which look great. Spoilers, I think they're great. I don't know what else came out this week. Whatever came out, we're going to talk about comics, all that stuff. So that's going to be it for now, guys. All right, guys, thanks so much for watching. Be seeing you.